Hello, we are back. Welcome to Actual Play, Blaze in the Dark, the Rusted RQR. So much has happened. I have moved. I'm in a new home. We have shuffled all sorts of things around, but we are back and we are so excited to play this game. We've been talking about it on Discord for ages, and it's just. Whew. Anyway, we're gonna do a little quick, round the wheel intros in case it's been so long that you've all forgotten us, and then we'll jump into the game. Since we haven't played in a while, we're probably gonna forget some stuff or make some mistakes, or I don't know. So if we do, let us know. Be gentle and kind, and we'll try and we'll try and fix that. Oh, and Luke, cult. Yes, we are a lovely, lovely cult in service of a demon. It's great, but we also have our own private agendas. Yeah. I think it is a triangle. You're right. Go around the triangle. Anyway, I'm Sean Nittner. I use he/him pronouns. I am playing Ankh. She is a whisper from Uduasha, the capital city of Aruvia. She is, unbeknownst to many, an Aruvian noble, and she's been sent here to do the simple task of capturing the 999 celestial beings bound to the Emperor and put them in the power of her family. No big deal. Should be easy peasy. She has pledged, however, to free them. So I don't know. I don't know what will happen. We still don't know. That question still keeps getting asked for me. And she needs penance badly, but doesn't feel that she can be honest with penance because she's not being honest with herself, because she's been disingenuous from the beginning. So she's scared to be honest and just generally brushes things off as like, what we're doing is so important that we can't be distracted by talking about the truth or the feelings or anything like that. So, good times. Also, she super bailed on Penance last score, and Penance had to do the score all on her own with Grounder. So, anyway, speaking of Penance, how are you doing, Kristen? What's up to you?
I've missed this game and both of you so much. Hi, I'm Kristen. I use she, her pronouns. I also play Penance, who uses she, her pronouns, and Penance is our leech. She is from Tycheros. She wears a plague mask all the time, so although she probably has a marking of some sort, we don't quite know what that is yet. She was definitely abandoned last score by Ankh and had to make do to get her haul with the help of Grounder and possibly her new best friend, who's also a ghost that possesses her. It's fine. It's going to be fine. But I'm super excited to play. One thing that really excites me about this group before I pass over to Jamie is that even though it's been a while since we've played and we're going to have to ease back into it, like Sean mentioned, we were talking about how to approach one thing, and we discussed approaching it in easy mode or in hard mode, and we decided to do it in hard mode because that is this group's motto. We play Blades on hard mode, so I'm very excited. Jamie, how about you?
Yeah, so I also want to point out that Penance abandoned someone last score. Just gonna put that out there.
That's so true.
Oh,
It's an ongoing cycle.
Minor detail.
Just a minor detail. Someone desperately in love with you after all these years.
I had blocked that.
I feel like there should be a song about poor Angelo.
Angelo. Oh.
But yeah, so hello everybody, I'm Jamie, the GM. My pronouns are they, he, and I like taking out emotional daggers for my players as evidenced by that moment. I'm super excited to get back into this. The cult is always one of my favorite things, of my many favorite things in Blades in the Dark, so I'm excited to see how this goes. We've been building up to this moment, the score, for a while now. It's going to be fantastic. But yeah, so do we want to jump in? I also agree. Grounder is also my himbo aspiration. I have a Venn diagram of different himbos, and Grounder is part of that.
Right? He's in there. Yeah, he's. I had a lot of fun playing a character with a lot less, with many fewer aspirations than Ankh.
And it was so cool seeing so much of the Railjack's abilities in play last time. I thought that was super, super great.
It was really good. You really played up the. You really gave me lots of opportunities, which I loved. Which I loved. It was.
Jamie's very good at that.
So yeah, I think we're cutting right in to the opening of the score. We're doing an occult score. The power source is a ritual, which we'll tell you about in a bit. Which we'll sort of be describing now. And I think it opens at the Flower Garden, right? Which is the turf we got 2 scores ago from the Dimmer Sisters. Turf run by Julian Roth.
Right. And so the Flower Garden is basically this fairly large apothecary that specifically caters to the rich, offering various like herbs and substances, perhaps not all of them completely legal, right? But you can pay for things for them to become part of the gray market and no longer illegal. That's how money goes, right? So what I want to ask is, before we start, what do we see of Ankh and Penance, right? Like, well, I want to ask Ankh, what are you doing to avoid this conversation with Penance that you should be having, considering what happened last time?
So, have you ever watched the way a crew of like painters or like construction crew work? They often will have like one person starts a thing, like 2 people will start a thing that needs like a lot of coordination, and then as soon as that level of coordination is done, one person leaves and kind of goes to the next thing. So like if you're like wiring an outlet or something like that, they'll be like, okay, I'm going to feed you the line, and then once you've got it, cool, I'm going to bounce. So there's these, for some reason, there's this time where we see Ankh and Penance, and they're both right next to one another, and they're drawing on the wall. We can't see what they're drawing yet, but they're above the doorway. They're on little step stools. They're using little step stools, and they're drawing something. Maybe Julian Roth is like tisking behind them, like, why are you defacing my beautiful garden?
Oh, I'm going to say Julian Roth is like, couldn't it at least be in purple? Couldn't it be a nicer color?
Yeah,
I think that's what he's saying. Anyway, go on.
Oh, that's perfect. As soon as like they're starting, and like maybe they would say something, Ankh's like, I'll go find the next window. Like I'll go and it's clear that they've been doing this at like every window and every door in the Flower Garden. They've probably been at it for some time already. But like it's like once it's started, that's enough. Penance can finish it off. And also like you can even see it in her body language. Kristen, tell me if I'm overstepping here, but I can imagine Penance is like a tinker, is like really hunched over and like getting really delicate detail. And like Ankh is standing like really far back, like holding her calligraphy pen like a sword, like drawing, with like trying not getting up close to Penance.
Right.
And yes.
I love that visual. I think Penance is very close because she draws with great detail, so close that she probably can't see anything else except exactly what she's focused on. So also her way of avoiding conversation, I imagine.
Yeah.
But I'm sure the tension is thick between the two of you, thick enough to cut with a blade, maybe.
Maybe.
And so the camera pans and we see Julian Roth, who is wearing like sort of a plague mask. It's like plague mask, but let's make it high fashion, right? That's basically what he's wearing. And then this like cape to the one side full of feathers and this waistcoat with lots of like, there's like a pocket watcher, all these like beautiful chains. You can see that he has a lot of different tools at his disposal. And when he opens it up to look at the watches, you caught a glimpse of it before this point. They're not normal watches, right? Like some of them don't have like hands on the faces. Some of them have other things that are not numbers very distinctly. Some of them like he pulls up to his ear to like listen to for a moment, like he's searching for something before he puts it back into the waistcoat. And then he looks at the two of you and he says, All right. The sisters have informed me of this vague plan you have, and I'm here to assist you. But I'll have you know that I'm not going to stick my pretty neck that far out for you, my darlings, he says. Are we understood?
Yes. So Ankh will like get down and she's talking to Julian, when she's 100% talking to Penance. She's like, I understand if you have obligations that you need to meet. I understand if you have other things going on in your life and that we can't be the center of your attention all the time. I understand that sometimes your other obligations pull you away and you got to tend to those. The flower garden is your priority, and that is very clear. So I emphatically understand what you're saying right now. And so she goes back.
As soon as she goes back, Penance turns around to talk to Julian and says, thank you for clearly communicating what your priorities are so that we understand and know that when you turn your attention elsewhere, we know how to plan for that and are not abandoned. And then turns her back around.
I think Julian looks at the two of you, right? And like the plague mask is covering most of his features, but there's a very distinct quiet and frozen moment that comes from him before he says, I see that we understand each other perfectly, he says before he stands up. And then there's a little bit of a chuckle underneath his breath before he clears his throat. But yeah, so shall we jump into the score then?
Yeah.
Okay, so there is a moment when there's only the waiting first because of the nature of what you've done to get to this point and get the information that you need. We see the two of you watching the windows and the doors, but one of the doors starts to like faintly glow around the sides, and then there's that thing as the bell rings open, right, as someone comes in, right, and we see this woman with like dusky skin. Her hair is like up around, like it's a large amount of hair that you can tell she's struggled to put into a bun of some kind. She is. You can tell that this is what a rich person thinks down dressing is like, right?
Like she's going incognito. She's hiding, like no one will notice that she's a rich person.
Right. Except like you can recognize like the clothing she has on, as simple as it looks. This is like exquisite fabric, very expensive. This is something that you cannot buy secondhand. This is like tailor-made for the body. It fits absolutely perfectly, right? Yeah. And she has no jewelry on, but you can see the markings of like heavy jewelry that is usually on the clothing around the neck, around the wrists.
Right.
And she looks around a little. You can tell that she's trying to look more nervous than she actually is. She's trying to look like she doesn't know what she's doing, right? And she comes in and she says, I'm here to pick up the package. And the door starts to like glow behind her, and you can tell that she can't see the glow. But Julian sort of like takes up that same moment, that same like frozen moment that he had earlier. Like you can tell there's a flicker of recognition underneath those like glassy eyes of the plague mask. And he says, of course, this is for Mr. Aguilar, isn't it? And she nods. She accepts the package, and it's this like beautiful like box that's very carefully packaged. This is not what you usually see coming out of the flower garden. You can tell like this doesn't come from the flower garden. The flower garden was just like a way for this package to bypass through.
Right, a smuggling route or a courier.
Yeah, exactly. And so the mysterious woman looks at the two of you and says, "Oh, so you've hired new help?" They look a little They look new, she says. You can tell she was trying to cover up another word. And Julian very smoothly covers up and says, yes, it's probationary. We'll see how it goes. I'll need to attend to their styling and fashion a little bit. You understand how it's like among some of the other types, right? And she's, yes, of course. Thank you so much, she says, quickly taking the package. And her blue eyes catch the light in this very, very strange way, right? So Penance, I want to ask you, because of the color of her eyes, this bright blue, what drug can you tell that she's on that's extremely dangerous?
Ooh. I need to find a list of drugs.
I was gonna say I'm pulling it up.
Can
right
I?
now.
Let me have an idea, and then we can see. Sean, you might know, or Jamie, you might know. I like the idea that she's on a drug that really heightens all of her emotions, and I think that it's so dangerous because people like to feel it or take it, and then they feel even happier than usual. Or if they want to watch a sad movie, they feel even more sad. It just like really highlights their emotions, and therefore it's very addicting. I don't know if a drug like that exists. No.
I mean, I think we could say that one of the existing drugs that is like unsetting. Black Lotus is a very high end drug, but it induces a stupor, so that's not a good fit.
Okay.
But there's two that seem like they could do this. One of them is Spark.
Mm-hmm.
It's a little low end. It's a raw electroplasm blended with seawater. The user feels empowered and emits like mild electrical energy. It's kind of like crack cocaine. Like it's not something that is typically among the rich. But one possibility that is quite high tier, but usually only used by like weirdos, is Quicksilver. A toxic metallic fluid. The user's mind opens up further to the ghost field. And I could see that being like if you wanted to like extend your senses. That seems cool to me.
I like that.
Or we could just totally make up a new drug that we think is rad. So
yeah, I mean, I like Quicksilver, or maybe it's some altered version of Quicksilver. But I think we can go with that. I like that. Yeah.
Yeah. What is the drug talk? Like it's cut with something. That's usually, isn't that what the kids say?
Right.
Yeah. I think I think Quicksilver cut with like, I don't want to just like fall to electroplasm all the time. So I think it's like let's just like say it's cut with Blood Needle, which gives this sort of euphoric mania and rampant energy.
Yeah, it's a mix. It's a dangerous mix of the two.
Yeah.
Right. Ooh, I like that. Yeah, so I like the idea that it's a dangerous mix. Penance, what makes it so dangerous when these two things are combined, right? That's why most people would never think about taking something like this.
Right. I think that it can make you feel things so strongly and alter your emotions so intensely that you start to lose your grip on reality, and therefore can make dangerous choices.
Yeah, I like that a lot. That's so good. Yeah, and so when you recognize that that's what she's taking in some capacity, you're surprised that she's like standing and walking and interacting, right?
Yeah.
And there's this sense that she's hiding who she is. Like the ability to be able to do those things while on the drug must mean that her mind is like incredibly strong, right? And the moment you realize that, you hear Athea's voice in your head say, we have to find out what's made her mind so strong. We could use this to our advantage.
Okay. I think that
love it.
It's so good. I think that Penance, I think she doesn't verbally acknowledge Athea because Ank's here.
Mhm.
I think she just like kind of tilts her head and like gives a nod as if Athea can see her. She's like, kind of gives a little nod and then is going to approach Julian and ask, who was that woman? How do you know her?
Exactly. And so the moment, like, once the door closes and everything, and it's just the three of you again, and you ask Julian that question, he turns to you and with great flourish, like, there's like this advertisement behind him, like on one of those, like, it kind of looks like a window blind, and then like he pulls it down and it rolls up with a great dramatic flourish, and there's this huge, beautiful map, right, of different parts of the city, and you see him like shifting the blinds back and forth until he gets to a map of Brightstone, and he says, "I'm so glad you asked. That is, no one truly knows her name. She's only known to us as Lilyblood.
Ooh.
She has a tendency to put on different disguises, aren't quite the right word. They're quite easy to see through. Perhaps personas, perhaps personalities. But everyone suspects that she's a rich woman playing at a strange game in a way in pieces that only make sense to her. But it's a good thing that I'm here for you, darlings, because I know where she lives at least part of the time." Right. And so he actually points to a place that is strangely close to the Klein apartments.
Nice. Is it on Bowmore Bridge?
Okay. So this is a very fancy set of apartments that are built like below the bridge, like near the water, which is completely dangerous, completely unsafe. So only the wretched and the rich think that it's a good idea. So there are some apartments that are extra fancy in that area, right? It's kind of like where the rich go to slum it, right?
Right. Feels like a freeway underpass, but like that's been decked out nicely. I love
that.
Yeah, exactly. And so he points at that and he looks at it and he says, "Well, you'll just need to find a ride." And I think we cut to the two of you on your like the boat hearse, right?
Yes. The boat hearse.
Yes.
With our stepsisters, Violet and Orchid.
Yeah,
right,
I love
it. Right. And so I'm just going to be clear for the audience, because you rode at a controlled position, you have a lot of extra information. That's why everything has been extra smooth. So when you tell the stepsisters about Lilyblood, they say, you can tell that they're a little disturbed, because from what you remember, the name Lily is supposed to mean a lot, right? To the Dimmer sisters, it's not a name that's taken lightly. But the two of them look at each other, and you can tell they're having some form of like communication between the two of them. And they look at both of you at the exact same time, right? The exact same move of the head. And they both say at the exact same time, "Surely it's only coincidence." But you can see the same look in their eyes of like, "But what if it isn't coincidence?" Right? And so you go underneath, and there's this beautiful apartment, this particular one that was pointed out to you, where Lilyblood supposedly lives or stays part of the time. It's like built to be as if it's a small spire of a building that's reaching outwards towards the water, right? So someone had to build this thing so that it looks like it's upside down.
I was going to say, it sounds like it's an upside down spire, yeah.
Exactly. And that takes like an amazing amount of like architect and money to do something like this. Here of all places, it's such a flagrant waste of money. And you haven't seen it before this point. So it was covered and camouflaged by the other apartments around it.
It seems like the kind of thing that like a boat going through at night under the bridge, like a tall boat would like knock it off, like a you know, like it's. I'm sure that does not happen because there's buoys to stop it from happening. But like I could just imagine like a stalagmite. I was getting mixed up. You know, like just like getting clipped by some giant steamer going underneath.
Yeah, exactly. And you've been here in this area before, but you've never seen it from above or the other apartments, right? So it's built in such a way that you can't really see it unless you're directly underneath it,
Okay.
right? Which is what the two of you have done.
Mhm.
So, your ritual, I'm going to say, because you're in a controlled position, has been able to grant you direct access into this to get closer to what you're looking for. So, do we want to describe what the ritual looks like and how you get inside these apartments?
Yeah, I'm for it. I think we cut to the, you said that door sort of glowed. We like, flash back to that door sort of glowing, and we um, we see that the eyes that Penance and Ankh had drawn are open, and it looks like it's Ankh's eyes, like they look like human eyes beneath them. And then we cut down, and you see Julian and Penance talking, and Ankh clearly like averting her gaze from the woman. But when we do flash over to Ankh, we just see stars in her eyes. That she is looking through the cosmos, and uh, and there's like a I think there's a further cut scene to like Ankh and Penance doing like this big tome open and drawing all these sigils, and there's like I think Penance is having to tattoo onto Ankh these pair of golden eyes that are like on her collar as part of this. So even though technically speaking this happened in the past, I would be happy, Kristen, if this sounds good to you, for this to be another opportunity for them to be discussing
Yeah.
the yeah.
During a tattoo session.
Yeah, exactly. While Penance is tattooing Ankh back in the lair, with these golden eyes. Um, and I mean, I think like I know the question, so I think I'm just gonna like cut to Ankh answering what I think the question is.
Mhm.
I know the timing wasn't great, but you succeeded. And we kind of like see the figure of your hull in the background. I sent somebody, and I did the best I could. And I brought us this. And she like references like all of the. I was doing the work we needed to do. And like she goes from apologetic to defensive and like justify. Like she was like apologetic for like half a second, and then she like pivots immediately to like, no, I was doing the right thing.
And I'm gonna say, like, while this is happening, the Hull looks at you, Penance, and they say in a soft voice, "Mother, I sense a lot, much guilt."
Oh. Um. Oh, I think Penance uh, gives the Hull a firm but not mean, right? A firm but not at all mean look of like, not right now. Now's not the time. And then goes back to tattooing Ankh and responds with, "You still haven't told me what was so important and where you were and why you had to leave right at that time. It's just coincidental."
And she's totally like dodging the question. You let it call you mother?
It's been through a lot.
Say again.
It's been through a lot. The Hull has been through a lot. It's fine that it calls me mother.
It's a hull. It's a chassis for you to put the ghost of your choosing into. It's not a person.
I mean, no, it's not an exact person, but it clearly is more complicated than you're realizing.
So is there somebody in it now? There must. Is there some? I don't know Sparkcraft well enough to know. Is this like basic Sparkcraft sentience, or is there some child ghost in there now that is like thinks you're its mom? She's totally dodging the question. She's 100% like trying to turn this around into being like,
Yep.
what have you done?
Yep.
I think if you want, if you're interested, I would be happy for you to make like a consort or whatever role. Just like see how like much
Ooh.
pressure you can put on Ankh to actually tell you why she left.
Let's do that.
Or any like or command or like any I don't know any action. I just
Yeah.
I like opportunities for.
Do we want to make it a roll or a fortune roll? What do we think?
I would feel like it was a fortune roll because the
cool with
consequences
fortune roll.
are not
Yeah.
grim unless Jamie you think like with the whole overhearing and the ritual in place and all this stuff that it is in fact risky. Like maybe if like we can't coordinate, this is bad.
I will say it's risky because the hull is there and there's someone else listening.
Oh, what they okay.
Yeah.
So I will roll instead of rolling fortune, then I'm gonna roll consort and do risky. Is that
Yeah, I think it's risky standard.
I like this. I like this so much.
Yeah, and I want to like preface that my feeling about it is it's if you succeed, like I think Ankh will tell you what she was doing.
Mm-hmm.
And if there's a complication, in addition to whatever Jamie is going to give you, I think Ankh is going to mask it or give limited effect. You know, we'll see. So yeah.
Okay, that makes sense. And I'm not going to push myself. I'm just going to roll. I'm not going to worry about bonus.
Nice. Yeah, let's just see what happens.
Yeah. Okay, 4.
Yeah. So I have a complication that I want to add, but Jamie, please add your own. So I'm going to give you limited effect, which is that I'm going to say I'm happy telling you.
Okay. Why aren't you telling me?
I'm happy to tell you, but I'm not happy to tell her. And you know, Ankh has ghost mind. Like she knows Athea's there. Like she is very savvy to when you're having presence.
Oh, I think I know you can't see Penance's face, but I think that for just a second, Penance stops the tattooing, and you probably pick up on that. You know Athea's there, but Penance didn't know Athea was there.
Oh, nice. Oh, so good. That's so good. Jamie, do you want to add additional complications?
Yeah.
So my complication is, Penance, what is it that Athea says that makes you think you can't trust Ankh anymore?
Oh, God.
Oh.
Jamie, you just twist the goddamn knife. Here I'm like fighting to get my penance back from Athea, and you're just like, or maybe not.
Or not. I think it's after Penance has the realization that Athea's been there and she didn't know it. And she probably had, I think Penance was softening towards Ankh because of that and feeling like that's not the first time Athea has like been here and I haven't known it, and it feels very sneaky. And I'm guessing Athea picks up on that. And so Penance, I've said this before in past games, Penance does not like to take responsibility for things. Shocking. And so I think Athea says something along the lines of, if if Ankh had given better advice of what to say to Angelo, he could have been saved.
So good.
That's what Athea tells
Penance.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it.
which gives Penance that out, right? Of feeling like it's not all her fault of what happened to Angelo.
Yeah.
And so I think the reaction of that is then I can't trust the advice that Ankh gives me in dangerous situations.
Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah,
so I think, Sorry, go ahead, Jamie.
Oh, I was just going to quickly say, like, when that realization hits you, Athea then adds, "Don't worry, Penance. I'll make sure that you never lose anyone important ever again."
Love it. And I think we should cut right to giving you some like important instruction about how we're gonna like get into like I can't trust Ankh about dangerous situations. And we cut to Ankh is sitting in the boat. She's like stone still. Her eyes are the void sea. We can see the stars through them. We cut into the shot like from the stars, like the camera comes like from way above Dustfall, when like Dustfall is just like a little tiny speck and it zooms down, and then we see like we see the spire because we see the reflection in the void sea that like points up to the spire. So there's this weird like mirror thing, and we realize like this is what Ankh is seeing right now. Like this is her vision at the moment, is from the stars, from a particular star even. And so she's not moving because she's just trying to like do everything she can to like hold it in. And I think if it's okay with you, Jamie, there's like a I don't know, I want to say like secret entrance, but like the tip of the spire that's at the bottom has like a secret entrance that like the boats can kind of use, and like we have to like come up, like stand on our hearse, and I'm like, I need, and Ankh I think knows where it is and is sort of giving direction on Penance. Like I doubt we can like, yeah, I think we had to like go around some buoys that would normally stop people from going here and like slip in, and it's like how to open the mechanism that like takes the top off this thing. Is that too bizarre? Is that too
No. I think what happens is like as you give the instructions, Penance has to like stand on the hearse section, right?
Yeah,
like it's barely just enough, and then Penance takes out her cane, right, and has to like tap at the tip of the roof, right? And it has to be this very rhythmic action, and you're clapping to like tell Penance what that the tapping rhythm has to be like.
Yeah.
And then there's this moment where like at the sixth tap, there's just this resounding echo that reverberates through the entire apartment, and then the softest sound of a click, almost like your ghost key, the sound that the ghost key makes when it clicks open something, right? And so you can tell there's something weird going on here. You realize that like this apartment does not fully exist in the physical space, right? There is a part of the apartment that extends past into the ghost field, right? And you can feel that pain in your head, like the migraine that's pushing back against your concentration as you hold the ritual in your mind. And when that click opens, the whole thing starts to come undone, like a clockwork mechanism, like a music box opening up, right? And then this beautiful staircase extends downwards. And then you can go up.
As Penance says, you're like up there on your tippy toes, like reaching as far as you can. You hear like Ankh cry out, and I'm sure it's distracting and startling because whenever someone's like she yells like she got her stubbed her toe. She's like, fuck, it's like, it's like, ow. It's like a sharp pain. It's she cries out, and then by the time you look down, she's already trying to recover, but she's like falling over and she's trying to get up. And needs Violet and Orchid to like help her get up to where you are to the staircase.
I think both Violet and Orchid like stroke your temples, like opposite temples at the same time, and then between the two of them, they complete the sentence of like, "Ankh, don't push yourself too hard."
I love it. Jamie, I don't feel like I can just like, this is not the kind of ritual I feel like you can just end. I feel like the ritual ends
You have to sustain it.
When we like go back and like close the eyes or something like that. Like I feel like the eyes followed her here and we have to go back. I think so. So I think Ankh is gonna spend this entire ritual in like weird star vision space and need Penance to sort of guide her through things because we're inside now and she can see things but only from the outside. So yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna say Ankh, like your vision is this weird thing where everything that's light feels like it's covered in stars, and anything where the shadows fall, you can see like eyes opening and closing, right? So your vision keeps shifting between these eyes and these stars that's overlaid over things. And then half of this apartment's in the ghost field. It's like a very weird trip, right?
Yeah.
So you just have to like stay completely focused the whole time. But you've been trained for this. You know how to handle it.
I've totally been trained for this. Yeah, I think also like based on the nature of the ritual, I think I can't be wearing my. I feel like my spirit mask would interfere with this, so it's like all raw and unfiltered, right? Like you like spirit mask helps me focus and filter it, and this I have to like take in all raw, and yeah, should be good. It's Athea's chance if she wants to like stick a ghost in me or something like that. Super vulnerable. Anyway, so yeah, I think she's needing a little assistance to get up those to meet Penance up at the top.
Yeah, I was trying to think if Penance when you came up after the stepsisters helped you, if Penance was going to ask if you're okay. But I don't think she asks if you're okay. I do think she asks, though. I know.
I can totally mention, are you? And then just see like the orbs, and it's like that's not a person. I don't know who this. Okay. I don't know who this is.
Yeah, I think that it's a are you, and then she sees that, and is like, so you're gonna need help. And then we'll.
Yeah. Yeah, like Ankh hates asking for help, but yeah, she what does Ankh do when she asks for help? What does it look like? I think she just puts out her hand, like to take yours. Like you're gonna have to guide her, and doesn't respond. She just fucking hates all of this. It's great. I love it.
Yeah. I think Penance takes your hand, and then we'll start to go inside. I think that she is thinking a please would have been nice, but stop short of muttering it under her breath.
I'm pretty sure the moment we get to the stairs and there's like a handrail, Ankh defers to using the handrail instead. Like as soon as we like get there,
Fair.
Excellent.
Love it. So yeah, let's go walk into this half ghost field, upside down Spire apartment and look for a demon controlling artifact.
Let's do that.
Totally normal. No problem whatsoever.
While under the influence of a ritual to see through the eyes of the stars. Yeah. Groovy.
Totally fine. So as you walk through the apartments, there's a weird bit of how the space tends to move, but Ankh, because you have the ritual on, you're able to like guide both Penance and you through it. But there's this tendency of like a corridor is not just a corridor. If you're not careful, the corridor can go on for miles.
Yeah.
Right. So you have to very carefully like step in certain directions, but you're able to do so. And this apartment is.
Can we see somebody like walking? I just like so you get that effect of like a lot of times movies have like some random unimportant NPC that like does a stupid thing so that the protagonists can like learn like, oh, don't do that. Mm-hmm. I just love the idea that like we see somebody like off in the middle distance who's been like walking down this corridor forever, and they're like parched and like dehydrated, and they're just too far gone. We can't save them or anything like that. But it's like somebody else who has tried this but doesn't know the steps to take and just is infinitely long, sad.
Right. I think you see a poor thief who
Yeah.
had like tried to break in,
Yeah.
and you can see the window that they broke through in order to get here, and then they've just been stuck in that same loop over and over again. And I think what's worse is like when you try to walk towards them, the house stops you. Like the ritual will only take you so far. The ritual will take you to the artifact, but you
Oh,
can't get
right.
to
They're
this
not.
thief.
Yeah.
Right. And and the thief can't see you, right? And they just like, how long has it been? Minutes, years? Like their sense of time is fucked, right?
Yeah.
Like it, and you can see like there's a clock behind them that keeps like moving backwards and forwards, right? Like just to really show how horrible this is. And then you can see like parts of their face are being eaten by the ghost field. So you know that if the house does not welcome you, if the house will start actively, and so this is very strange because this feels familiar. This
Yeah.
feels like the Dimmer
It
sisters'
feels
house,
like the Dimmer sisters' house, right? Like,
but it feels more malevolent.
we
right?
got to find ourselves this ghost architect who's building these like baller
Yes.
ghost houses.
Can
And
we get one of these? I feel like we need to get one of these
yeah,
for
but
ourselves.
remember the Dimmer sisters' house. I think like we're just saying this is like out of character, but I think at some point, like Ankh like does like go to reach out to him to like, not even like not necessarily compassionately, but more exploratorily, and like realizes she can't reach him, like that the ritual won't let her deviate off the path too much, and then she's like, she kind of turns to Penance and she says, "This house does not want us here. The Dimmer sisters' home welcomed us. It was curious. This place has desires as well, and those are not those are inimical to us. We need to be very careful." And then she like kind of bites her tongue. She's like, "We need to trust each other."
I think I think that I'm not holding your hand to guide you at this moment. And I think that Penance stays quiet for so long that even though Ankh won't reach out, and tell me if I'm wrong, even though Ankh won't reach out, she probably starts to think like, wait, is Penance still here? But then Penance says, we should get what we came for and get out together.
I like that together had a little delay.
Yeah.
Ankh's like, we have to keep going up. We might have to go up a very, very long ways. Like as though the dimension of the house, TARDIS style, is not necessarily the same size. Like if we're going to the ghost field, who knows where we're going?
Mm-hmm.
Excellent. I will say, you do know that the last time you interacted with the Dimmer sisters' house, you were able to interact with the avatar of the house. So that is something that you're familiar with. And if you want to call upon the avatar of this house, you can do that if you want to.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I also have, I think, let me just double check. I believe I have the occultist ability. I got that for this sort of purpose, having talked to the Golden Demon. You know the secret ways to consort with ancient powers, forgotten gods, or demons. Yeah, that sounds like a good idea. I don't know which this thing is, but yeah. So I say I think we could be as lost as that thief if we don't entreat the house to this place to aid us, to guide us through. This ritual will take me to the artifacts, but it will not stop the things that are that the house will put in our way. And she reaches her hand out to you again and is like, "Will you? I'm going to enter the ghost field, and I need you to stay here in the real world, and together we will entreat this house. We need to speak in the way that Violet and Orchid do, in unison to reach out to this house. In a very fancy way. I'm asking you to assist me in this.
Yeah.
But
I love it.
But because we have Bound in Darkness, like we can we can communicate through vibration. And so I think you like feel Ank's hand as she sort of starts fading into the ghost field, but you can still feel the vibration of her hand and like what she's about to say. And then you kind of know the next thing and can complete it. So yeah, Jamie, I'd like to talk to the house, if that's okay. If that's something that's
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm assisting, yes.
So what action do we think this is?
I think it has to be consort. I think that occultist lets me specifically consort, because you can't, unless the fiction changes in a way that allows you to, unless the fiction changes in a way that allows you to shift the position, I don't think you can command. I mean, you could technically take any action, but I think occultist allows you to know the ways in which to consort. So that's my in. Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm gonna say it's like risky, and I'm gonna say for now it's limited, but I think there are ways you can raise it up to standard, no problem.
Yeah. Because it reminds us so much of the Dimmer Sisters home, I think I'm going to pull out my ghost key, and like we see, oh God, I only have one hand free. So like I'm holding one end, and like Penance, you're going to have to like turn the other end to like calibrate it.
Yeah.
Because each of us only have one hand right now. It's a two-handed operation to use this thing. It's tiny, but you still need two hands to operate it.
Yep.
So yes, I'm gonna mark off that I have my ghost key. Let's see. We didn't talk about load, but I'm going normal load.
Oh, yeah. I'll mark normal too before we.
So I'm
nice.
Continue on.
Also, I agree with Luke. This is a house and not a house.
Oh yeah, it's definitely. I said that on accident, but then I was like, yeah, it's a house. A harimu, a hariku. All right, sorry, I'm having Scotland flashbacks. Yeah, I think I'll use the ghost key.
Yeah.
And basically like use it to. I think that's how I kind of enter into the ghost field. I mean, that's my tool. I don't think I can innately do it. I think I do it by opening up. Like the barrier here is very thin anyway, and so it's like calibrating the key just right. I'm like, nope, hold it. Okay, turn the first locking mechanism clockwise. It's like a combination lock. You have to turn it just right, and there's all these things. And Ank's having to tell Penance how to do it and trying not to be impatient. And then yeah, I think she steps into the ghost field. Is that reasonable to ask for standard effect using that?
Sure, I think so. Device? Yeah, absolutely. Are you happy with rolling the one die, or would you like a?
Well, I'm getting help from Penance.
Oh, so that's right. Yeah.
I'll roll two, but if you have a devil's bargain in mind, I would certainly always entertain it.
I always have a devil's bargain in mind. Yeah. So I'm going to say that the devil's bargain is the veil is thinnest where the thief is dying. And so if you enter the lock around the area of where they're dying and where they're being eaten away by the ghost field, it'll be easier for you to get through and consort. But a part of that thief's soul is going to be infused with the ghost key from now on.
Oh, I love it.
Me too.
Yeah, 100% taking my ghost key named with a name. We're going to have to name this thief. Unless it's just the unnamed thief, in which case that's the name of the ghost key.
Wait, let's see. I'm going to say that their name is Isaiah.
Isaiah?
Mm-hmm.
I like it.
And it's true. Luke, I do in fact have a library of devil's bargains on the ready.
Yes.
Oh, good one, Blake. They were your first crush. I'll save that for next time, Blake. We're gonna say.
All right. Yes. I think Isaiah dies, right? Like I think this is the best that Isaiah can can do is to not be trapped here anymore. Instead, be trapped in the ghost key. I don't know. But
Absolute kindness. Very, very kind of you. Yeah.
yeah.
I mean,
I kind of feel like a little bit that's like showing the house that like I've got the stuff, right? Like I've
True.
got the arcane power to do that. So yeah. All right, risky standard. 2 bonus dice, 1 for helping, 1 for the devil's bargain. Totally happy to. Thank you, Isaiah, for that final
Good
run.
job. Beautiful, beautiful. Always great when someone's soul can be of service, right?
Yeah.
So I think like as the soul leaves Isaiah's body, right, you sense that you are saving it from being eaten away by the ghost field, right? Like the ghost field was almost at it,
Yeah.
right? And then instead it gets pulled out. And as Isaiah's soul is being pulled out of their body, their face turns completely blank, right? And the key, the head of the key, right, in front of all of those like interchanging locks and stuff, starts to look like what Isaiah's face used to look like, right? And then there's just this soft sigh of, yes, that was my name. My mother gave it to me. How long will I be able to keep this name? Isaiah says before he goes to sleep inside of the key. And the ghost field opens up. There's that same sense of like the door revealing itself to you. And on the other side, you can, like the last time you talked to the avatar, it took you a while. You had to walk up to the house and blah, 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 and all of these things. But the avatar is already waiting for you.
Oh, wow.
And when the door opens up, this is very much like, you realize that compared to the avatar of the Dimmer Sisters house, this one is very, very interested in you. The other avatar was a little like, maybe. Well, you are connected to the demon, so I guess I'm interested in you.
Yeah.
But this avatar is like, when the door opens up, all you see, and this is like a U-sized door, right? Like it's about like the size of a person. And then you see this one huge glowing yellow eye right up against the door, and it just blinks very slowly and opens up again, and it pulls away, and you can feel how huge this avatar is. And there's something that's like a mouth that opens up underneath the eyes, but
There's something that's like a mouth.
not quite a mouth. It's trying its best to be a mouth, but there are too many cuts and there are too many teeth, and it opens up more like a flower than a mouth. And the voice that comes through, and Penance, you can't hear what's going on, right? Because it's just completely Ankh in the ghost field.
Right.
But there's this wind that makes its way through the corridor, and we see like your clothes and your hair move, right? And then when we come back,
also like you feel like you're like Ankh squeezes your hand, like there's a she is going through a thing.
Yeah.
And then so there's a deep, deep voice. You can barely register it. It is so low to your ears, Ankh, to your soul, right? And you can feel it reverberate through the bones that you do not have here in the ghost field. And the avatar says, "Little snake, what makes you slither this way towards my heart? What is it that your fangs seek, little one?"
I say not just snake, but snake and owl, who has the eyes to see you and reveal you in the night. You house an artifact of control, and I have come to reclaim it, to bring it back to its home.
Oh, and this is the power you have, little snake, little owl, little girl, that you can claim things and make them your own, things that belong to me. Is that what you're saying, little one?
I think she demurs a little bit, and you can somehow, because we're bound in darkness, Penance can tell that like Ankh is playing the like sort of coquettish, like, oh, who, me? Like she's gonna try and like be demure, which is probably a mistake in the presence of like an ancient deity. Like she probably should really like hold her ground, but this is like how she's learned to talk. So she's like, no, I would never steal from such a noble being as yourself. She doesn't really know what to call it. It's my understanding that this was bound to some petty noble, some frivolous man named Aguilar, some human who I'm sure will die before you blink an eye.
You refer to the Skinwalker. I see. And then there's a long moment. Very well. My contract with the Skinwalker is almost at an end. I will make a new contract with you, little snake, little owl, little girl, little gift that you are.
Lovely. That's totally what I wanted. Was to make another deal with another supernatural entity and like give away like another little piece of my soul. And this is absolutely what the ritual. One of the questions of the ritual was like, what new fears do you have? And one of them, there was multiple. One of them was knowing that like my family just expects me to get chewed up and spit out by this whole process. And so Ankh says, Ankh kind of like knows better than to say like name your price, and she says, I'll give you the I'll sink this. I'll return you back to the void sea, and break this hanging and tear away your connection to the physical world and return you back to the void sea. I'm offering to destroy this house from the top up because Penance has fucking Saboteur, and I'm like, I want to blow some shit up. So I'm offering to say like, I will break this house off and like drop it back into the sea for you. I don't know if that's what she wants, but I figure it's a good thing to offer that isn't like my soul or my undying. So anyway, that's my first offer. We'll see what this entity even wants.
And when you say that, there's this bit of it's not quite a laugh, but it's close enough to the idea of a laugh. And they say, to be embraced by the void sea again. Perhaps yes, but I will allow you to walk through my corridors and touch my walls and go up my stairs. But in exchange, my dear, dear little gift, I ask that you interrupt the ritual to renew the contract. Because even if this house shatters and is swallowed by the sea, the Skinwalker still has their plans. You understand, don't you? I sense you have interrupted many rituals.
Ankh's in the middle of a ritual as we effing speak. Yeah. So, Jamie, just to make an understanding, I assume that means the Skinwalker, who could be Mr. Aguilar, who could be Lily Blood, who could be the same person, is in the middle of something, and we got to go fuck it up. We got to go.
That's what I was thinking. Yeah.
Okay. Excellent. All right.
They're like renewing their contract with the house, right?
Yeah. I'll ensure that no one, Skinwalker or otherwise, binds you today.
Very well. Then the contract is made. I will ask for one more thing. And you can see like now it shifts its head and the other eye comes close to you. And this eye is a deep black void with with a storm inside of its pupils. And you can hear the thunder in your marrow. And the old house says, "The one last thing I ask of you is for you to kill the ghost inside your friend."
Oh my goodness. There's a moment where Ankh almost lets go. And I think, Penance, you know that if she did, she wouldn't come back. Like she'd just get pulled into the ghost field. Like there's a moment where her grip on you slackens and she's
Yeah.
about to let go.
Oh, I
And
think
the
Penance
question
tightens her
is-
grip.
What's that?
I think Penance tightens her grip.
Okay, nice.
Yeah.
Okay. And I say, much as I would love, much as that would bring me satisfaction, and oh, would it bring me satisfaction? That is not my place to do. I will not do that for you. I will accept another demand if you have it, but I cannot accept that.
And there's this